Traders of the Lost Art.
Nico, your voice sounds lower.
Deeper, right?
Pitch or
Oh,
something.
so I'm using the very Z. I'm using the very Z. Let's check it out.
It sounds like
Here's all the
down.
way. Here's all the way to. Here's all the way one
Oh
way,
my thing.
and here's all the way the other way.
No, it's not that.
It sounds pitched down, like a cent, like a few cents down or something.
My boy's a man now.
Um,
What happens when you
that's
have
great.
children?
Hey guys. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
What's
awesome,
going
dude.
on. Maybe it is something in very Z. I don't know.
You
Maybe
don't
it
have
takes some game.
you don't have any plugins on, do you?
Not at all. Well, let me check. Actually.
Sounds
He's
warm.
just a deep talker.
Audio
I don't know.
keys. No, I don't think so.
Sounds like a black man.
Maybe. What if I mute this? Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, but
You gotta
Did it go away?
You could be a little louder.
Okay. Put
Get
that
rid
back
of
Hey,
all the hair on
what
your
up?
left side. That'll get it smooth.
What up, gentlemen? How we doing?
I just told you.
Sound better? Get rid of the what now? All right.
Hey guys, I'll start this. I found this in my work, and I don't know if you know what it is.
Oh,
It's the one of the first Sans amps.
oh my gosh.
Isn't that the one that you used on Get the Party Started?
Yeah,
Amazing, dude. That's some legendary gear right
yeah.
there.
So I thought maybe it'd be fun to look at it, and then this other one is I don't think you can find these anymore because they go for more money than they're worth.
you got to show that on the show.
But I like MXR guys gave me this, so this has a
Submachine?
Sweet, dude.
Okay. What does that do?
it doesn't do what it says. I'll tell you that.
That's pretty rad, dude.
Yeah.
What do you use it on?
The when you put a
Bass.
huh
A bass.
something for in a sub range, it's so good.
Nice.
Well,
It's pretty.
on that note, let's get this party started. Dave, you are excited to be here. I can see you already whipping out all your baddest pieces of equipment. Some of those have been some of your best kept secrets for a long time. And
Yeah.
we appreciate you for giving us a little bit of insight on some of those best kept secrets. So
I
once
never
again, you
gave
are the man.
Nico. I never kept anything to myself.
What are some of the
So-
songs you use that Sans amp plug-in on? And what did you use it on? Vocals or what?
I don't know. I used it in.
Nico knows.
Okay.
What do you use it on, Nico?
Sometimes use it on vocals, on a parallel vocal, add a little bit of grit. Obviously, tried and true guitar, Sans amp on the guitar. There's an amazing Sans amp plugin called PSA 1000 and the junior version, both by Nambrini Audio, both very cool. It's basically Sans amp with a mix knob. I really like it. Dave, of course, turned me on to that, so thank you, Dave. Also, they have a lo-fi and what's the one that we use by Avid all the time? Whatever. It's like one of those.
What are some of your guys' go-to amp sims lately?
Mixwave. Anything by Mixwave. They are.
Mixwave's been killing it.
They're
Shout out
killing it.
Mixwave.
And they deserve all the tech awards this year. They're insane.
Really?
Who's that?
Mixwave.
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 Mix.
You know the
So
guys
they-
that make the. You know them. You've got some of their
Yep.
gear. They're a fairly new company, but they are kicking butt. They've got some really good sounding stuff.
Yeah,
Mixwave, as well as the Make Believe guys, some friends of ours, young up and coming guys, but some of the most talented engineers currently in the game.
They have some really cool amps, and I was mixing a bunch of guitars last week and just took some really lackluster guitars to the next level. Like their stuff is great. Like next level amp sim.
Do they do anything other than amp sims?
Yeah, they do the Hazel rig. They do
Okay.
the coil preamp. They do
CA70 saved me on a couple synth. I was
yeah,
like, oh, uh, I just
totally.
wanted to use it to check it out because it was new, right? And I'm browsing through the presets and I'm seeing like all sorts of different stuff like vocals and synth and I'm just like, oh, they just put that just to put that. And I go ahead and put it on my synth and I was like, whoa, it's actually a
Yeah.
little too much. Let me dial back, and it was pretty sweet. And then you go take off and it's like, I kind of
Yeah,
wanted
that coil preamp is magic. The Electrodyne, the little two band EQ, just a high and low shelf. That thing is really cool.
Have you guys used the it's a what is it?
It's a 8180 amp. Nimbrini makes that as well.
And
mm,
so I use that a lot because it's just perfect to get an attack on the front of a
Guitar.
guitar. And
nice.
that's hype.
Nice.
I do the old R compressor on the guitar a lot of times. I love
Our
that.
guitar.
Yeah, the R guitar, famous. Can't get away from it.
Nice.
The
Nice.
old
The rep-
Waves. Any new Waves plugins you guys have heard about? I heard
The
they're coming
the
out some.
the curves equator is pretty sweet. That thing is
What does it do?
what's
What does
that?
that do?
it's it's like a resonance finder and killer, and
I could use that.
similar
What?
to Soothe, but not surgical like Soothe. It's more tonal and more graceful than Soothe. But
Broadband.
it's just cool tone shaping, like just to see what it can come up with, and then it has a tilt feature. But it's kind of like an automatic EQ kind of thing.
Cool.
We're seeing a lot more of those come out. Has anyone delved into the Oak Sound Bloom?
Oh yeah, that thing's good.
I haven't checked out Bloom yet. Do you guys like that?
It's something you can overuse for sure, just like Soothe. I mean, and
What do you end up using Bloom on?
me, it just it's kind of like the same thing as the curves equator. Just having it's almost having like a different engineer find a tonal balance for that one sound and going through presets and like they'll have wide pop master just to throw that on a loop and see how the sound changes, and it's something that you couldn't do with just a straight EQ. Um, so I just kind of use it in that way, just like let me see what AI can come up with instead of me, like what the plugin can do.
But guys, you guys know Robin, right? Robin from
Rumors from
yeah,
Leapwing
yeah.
Audio.
What I say?
Leapwing.
Say it.
Oh yeah, he came out with a plugin called Limit One.
Oh,
Okay.
That's right.
It's
That's
pretty
new,
sweet.
isn't it?
We've been using it on background vocals a lot lately.
Amazing.
So,
just a straight limiter.
Amazing.
yep,
From Leapwig?
Yeah, their stuff is.
yeah, from Leapwing.
They make the
Oh,
best stereo
Yeah.
widener, and
Yep.
Yeah.
I think cancels the
Stage
mono
one is
perfectly. Yep.
yeah, they're serial wide.
on every
Very
mix.
curious about the limiter.
Yeah.
It's got to be good if it's coming from Leapwing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm making my notes. You guys are going to make me go broke again.
Don't
Well,
Let's
just wait a
go.
couple weeks for Black Friday, and then go
Oh,
crazy.
I'm definitely going hog wild on Black Friday for sure.
Yeah, I used to Leapwing multi-band on my two bus every mix, just because it has a parallel mode,
Wow, dude.
and that's just blend in a little bit of the parallel, and it's got a great feel to it.
Damn,
Even
21.
Eric Racy
Let's
came out
see.
with the Black Box
yes,
HGQ, which
yeah.
is
I saw
we've been
that.
using that a lot lately.
How is that?
How
Yeah.
do you like that? Is that surgical or tonal?
It's more tonal than surgical.
I'm like, where's my notepad? I'm just gonna have to start.
Yeah.
That's
I
one of
usually
the
just play the episode back.
excited
But
about.
Yeah.
man,
Guys, Eric, we need to like Eric. Eric is just a really great person, likes us, you know.
Yeah, he's
And
great.
HG2 is on probably almost all my lists.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
I like
dude.
that a whole lot. Thanks,
HG2
Eric.
is heavy.
It's
Yeah, shout out Air AC,
We should have Eric on
Black
an
Dogs.
episode sometime.
Yeah, we definitely
That'd
should.
be sick. Yeah, he's a great hand for sure.
I mean, the HE2 pretty much went viral. I mean, that plugin exploded,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it hasn't faded away. It's still popular.
it hasn't. I still use it all the time.
Man, I'm telling you, speaking of going viral, Bob Horn's presets are viral. That's how I got some of the cool stuff coming out of the mix wave, the coil CA70
Nice.
preamp. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of lost at first. You guys might be a little lost too if you're not like super into what coil audio's got going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm browsing through the presets and I see Bob Horn and I'm like, let's see what's going on. And definitely pimped out some of my synths and the Hazel rig. He's
Yeah.
got some cool presets
Oh,
as
thank you.
well. I just needed so much help on this vocal, and I was just like scratching my head. I was like, "Where do I start? What do I do?" I EQ'd it, and I didn't like it. I put my favorite saturation. I didn't like it, and I was just like, "Man, what do I do?" It's just you know and I was like, oh, Mixwave's got this new Hazel rig plug-in. So I was like, let me try that. Everyone's talking about it. Let me see what the hype is about. And like, once again, here we go. I see Bob Horn's presets and the vote. I'm like, oh, he's got a vocal. I was like, oh, here we go. And then lo and behold, I didn't have to do anything to it. I was like, man, let me tweak it just to say I did something, and I messed it up. So I had to go back and reset his preset.
Thanks, man.
So
I kind of have a
yeah,
theory
no,
for
you're doing it.
presets. If someone asks me to make presets, I'll make them. And if they're not super useful and on the money, I don't turn them in. I just tell them, hey, sorry, I couldn't come up with anything. Because I've never been a preset. Like, a preset's got to be pretty special. Otherwise, I'm just yanking knobs and doing my own thing. So,
So
Same.
oh, that's why you wanted us to come over to your house.
with all comp, I just harvest my presets from my sessions. Like, I'll just go through past sessions
there
and
you
I'll be
go.
like, oh, really cool bass one. Look what I did to that. This vocal is awesome, and I'll just turn that into a preset.
That's a good idea.
So we've been cooking up presets for Black Friday.
Hey guys, I've been using this plugin for a long time. I don't know if you guys know BOZ. He's like a really cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we tried to use it. We're using it today, and it's called the wall. The wall. And when I see something that I think needs to be down, I don't want it to be all the way down. I want it to be have a little bit of plays where I don't like. Well, let me say this. I'm sorry. If you want a, a, something that just is dead on, and it doesn't do anything except just be dead on. But I like to have a few of them get by. You know what I'm saying? And
We're talking about peaks and
Yep,
transients.
yeah,
exactly.
and
Well,
so
it's a litter.
but Boz has one that I've been using for quite a while, and it's so good. It's called the wall. He calls it the wall.
And
I like
we
this
use
stuff.
it. We use it on our all vocal aux.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
that's a,
Really?
So it's fun, I mean,
Yep.
I love
No,
their
it's
tilt
great.
plugin. T-Bone was the first tilt that I used, heavy, and that inspired putting a tilt into All Comp, which is Levitate. Yeah, and then Boz also did a series with David Bendeth, and for the longest time, I thought David Bendeth owned Boz Digital. I thought that was his plugin company, but it is not. So
No,
sorry, Boz.
actually, a gentleman named Buzz.
Nice.
But the David Bendeth plugins on Boz are pretty fucking cool too. I think he's got the plus 10 compressor Uh, something else. He's got
Boz
like
actually has a lot of really cool stuff. There's like a lot of like little known but very utilitarian plugins. Like,
Mhm.
well, back before there was 1,000 transient designers, he had Bark of Dog, which is like a snappy, but you could do different frequency range transient designers. And also one that's really utilitarian is, I think it's called Mongoose,
Yeah,
and it's like
mono goose.
mono,
Monogoose.
yeah. And it's like a super utilitarian left right, so you could flip the phase on left right, you could change the
Really?
delay or whatever left right, and all sorts of like different things, quote unquote, fix weird stems you might get, or all sorts of. So that's one that a lot of folks don't know about, so I definitely
Boz
give
Mono.
props to Boz for making that. Panipulator is another one that it's just like
I
a
like that.
simple pan, swap left right.
Ah.
Really,
Their
it's
pan
cool.
knob is really
I
good
think
too.
Panipulator is free actually, and again, it's easy plug in to swap left and right, or go mono, or little stuff like that.
Speaking of mono and phase, I the last mixing night was drums night, and I was mixing live drum kit, and I was using. Have you guys used the Sound Radix Auto Align? So they have Auto Align 2 now, and it will analyze. You'll like assign a master track, and then you can assign slave tracks to each of to the master, and each of them gets a plugin. And then you play down the song one time, and it analyzes everything, and then it phase corrects all of your drums to your source, and it's easy as hell and absolute game changer for poorly recorded drums.
That's literally what I need right now. I need to go back and revisit that. I'm dealing with like a bunch of different kicks, and
Yeah,
like
the
yeah.
great thing about that is like if you're comping different drum takes together, or say your overheads are just wobbling around the whole time during the performance, it's it's not only like auto align one, the basic auto align just takes a snapshot. It analyzes two things as they play, and they go, okay, this is the best relationship between these two things right here. But auto align two analyzes top to bottom and corrects everything in real, not in real time, but
Oh, I didn't
does
know
one.
that.
So if there's if the phase is slightly different in chorus one than chorus two, it's gonna correct that differently. So it's like a real time monitoring for phase throughout your
Oh,
whole track.
that's
Yeah, it's
cool.
super.
Back a little while ago, Dave used it to align his overheads to his vocal. So he used to take a transient designer and just boost the attack on the vocal, and then align it with the drums, and then see what it did. If it felt good, we kept it. If it didn't, we threw it away. But most of the time, it worked pretty good, and it
Yeah.
can actually move some of the words here and there so that it's more in the groove, and it worked pretty well. And then we just take the transient designer off once we're done.
You make me look bad, man.
You did it.
No.
That's
Anyway,
amazing.
yeah, guys,
So you guys remember our good friend Paul Wolf that we had on? Um, I got his. If you can see it, I haven't installed it yet, but I got his patch bay, which is it's it's amazing. Number one, it's sonically like connecting XLRs together. There's no loss, but just the fact that you plug everything in the back and you don't actually physically patch with cables, you patch with an app on your computer, and just having chains and being able to A B outboard gear. Like I could have a chain of 3 outboard pieces, and I can be like, okay, do I want the SSL fusion first or last? First or last? And that would take you like 30 seconds for your assistant or you to change that patch. You just hit a button and it's just flopping to order the inserts, and then you could have a drum miking set up. You just one button, all the patching's done, all the mic pre's and all the gear and all the right inputs. So my whole studio is on that one patch bay. So anything I need, I just hit the chain button or the recall button of what I want, and it's patched, and it sounds incredible. So
That sounds. I need that in my life
Yeah,
badly.
it,
it's about
Uh,
time. Props
yeah, I
to
haven't been
Paul
using my
Wolf. What a
outboard
genius.
because I can't plug it in. I don't have. So
yeah,
that sounds like total solution for me.
It
And
is.
so far, Flock Audio has been capitalizing or monopolizing, whatever you want to call it, that digital
Right.
patch bay market. They're the only ones that have it. Doesn't exist. Now, another small, I guess, niche piece of gear is a handy amps like switcher that you can do different, uh, order of gear, like 1, 2. I forget. Our good friend
Oh,
Michele Canova had one, but it's like 10 grand
right.
or something, like 15 grand. It's like, what? No, it's like mastering level, mastering
Yeah.
grade.
Once you get into
To
that relay switching, pure audio, like things get expensive. You know, even
right,
this is
Bob,
cheaper than the Flock, but it's actually better. And also,
right.
like I believe the Flock has an issue with phantom power. This has no issues at all with whatever signal. You can send MIDI through it if you want to.
so Bob, when you're building presets for this, can you build like, okay, I'm going to have the Soundtech EQ into the whatever compressor into the clariphonic, and that's one button,
Yep.
and you can have like tons of different ones of those built as like chains, and you can just drop them in anytime, and that's the chain,
Yep.
unless it's being used for.
It saves like a little a palette of all your chains on the right, and they just have little on buttons. And if there's a conflict in patching where you're like double patching one piece, it'll pull up a little notice and say conflict or whatever. But yeah, you can save all your chains right on the right and just turn them on and off, and it's literally instant. And
How many ins and outs?
so the one, if you just use one unit, it has 48 ins and outs on the back. So those are the ones you never touch, and then it has 16 top and bottom, so 32 on the front. So that's if you have more than one patch bay. So if you still have like switchcraft patch bays because you got too much, those on the
Right.
front will lead you to patch into those. So if you have any physical patching to go somewhere else in the studio or extra gear that
Yeah, like
didn't fit on the Wolf Pro patch, that's what the
like
front
I
is
don't know
for.
if I would need the more than I wouldn't need more than 16. I don't think, but
That's
a big
exactly
studio
what I
sounds
had.
like
So
it could.
I have Pro Tools, 16 of my Pro Tools, 8 of them I have off of the patch bay, 16 are on, and then all my outboard gear, and then my stereo bus converters and all that, and that all fit. And the other thing that's great is you don't have to worry about normals. There's no such thing as normals on this thing because you do the virtual patch yourself. So you can cram everything in there. You don't have to leave like a space below one piece of gear because it would be normal. You don't have any of those conflicts. You can just pack it all in and take up every hole on the patch bay. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about normals at all.
Crazy.
Man,
That's
I
incredible.
need to check that thing out.
Yeah.
And what are the ins and outs on the
How
back?
much was that,
D
Bob?
sub. They are, I believe, retail is like 8,000 something,
Oh, okay.
but
Incredible.
they're a lot,
Totally
but they're
worth.
3 grand cheaper than the Flock. And man, just for recallability, just open a session, hit a button. If you like to use outboard gear, this will make you like using outboard gear even more because it's just that much easier to instantly plug things in the way you want them. You know,
Do you ever use outboard gear on your mix bus, or are you only?
I only
Uh,
use the Fusion, and I almost never change it. I do a little iPhone video, and I airdrop it, and I put it in the sessions folder. So when I'm opening a song, while the song is loading, I look at that video, and I'll mostly I have the stereo imager on because I love the Fusion's imager, and
mhm.
I haven't moved it in like 3 months. But if I do, I'll just look on the video and then tweak it, and it's ready. But I don't go beyond that because I don't like recalling a lot of stuff. That's another reason I have this patch bay. Is it's just
So, are you an analog mix bus?
yeah. I have a Rupert Neve
Ooh.
Orbit for summing.
So you set up your stems at the end of the night with like Bounce Butler or something like that, and just
I
let them
have
run all
one
night.
that my assistant and his friend wrote. It's a different. It's just an Apple script that they wrote, but yeah, it's like
Oh,
Bounce Butler.
we gotta talk.
They just came out with Bounce Factory. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah,
I have.
Is that the Andrew Sheps
Yeah,
yeah,
thing? Andrew Sheps has a bounce thing.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out, but Andrew gave it showed it to me at AES when I saw it.
Seems very interesting. You have a lot of options. You can do stems. You can exclude tracks. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that stuff
Well, if
is
he built
smart.
it, probably is very well thought out. So,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love setting up stems and going to bed and then just waking up the next morning and all my stems are done. That's really cool.
nice.
that would be very convenient.
I got to get more into the Stream Deck. Is anyone utilizing the Stream Deck
Yeah, I
for
use the Stream
streamlining
Deck.
stuff?
Yeah, I don't use it for plugins and stuff, but I use it to change the lights and the scenes
Right.
and the projecting.
Order
Right.
tacos. You have a taco button. You can do that. Yeah, anything you do with the mouse, you can make for
Really?
Stream Deck.
So
Yeah,
I can have my Chipotle order on speed button.
yeah. You can have your DoorDash or Grubhub with your credit card info, and you hit one button, and it'll order your favorite burrito. You can literally put that
Oh,
on a button.
gosh.
That's great.
Bob, what was that
That stuff's pretty
plugin
easy.
program that you were using that had like your iPad in front of you and it had like 50 of your
That
main
was
plugins?
Oh my god, what is that called? That's exactly what I'm thinking about while we're talking about this. Man, I need to look at it up.
You
I
need to
forget the
try
name.
that.
Sound something.
Soundflow?
Yeah, Soundflow.
Soundflow?
Yeah,
Have,
that's
how much
basically.
is that now?
I think it's like 10 a month.
I might get that. I thought it was a lot more.
That's what I thought was the whole point of using the Stream Deck was for that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty
Soundflow is
much.
just a bunch of scripts made that work on a Stream Deck. But if you don't buy the actual Stream Deck, you can use like an iPad or something like that. But like Tizio has a plugin loader. You can have like 50 of your plugins, and whatever track you have highlighted the name of, you just hit like FabFilter Pro Q, and it'll have a little icon of the Pro Q3. So you just hit that, and it puts one on. You can split tracks to mono. You can anything you can do in Pro Tools. If you want to write a script for it, you can. It doesn't matter how many button pushes.
As long as you write the quick key command or whatever, yeah.
That
Exactly.
sounds
Soundflow.
crazy.
And that company is they're very into helping their customers. So if you get stuck on something, they'll get on a Zoom with you. If you're local, they'll go out to your house or whatever. They're really good guys.
So Soundflow is a quick key company, or they obviously a script writing company, but they're just for employing quick keys or hotkeys.
Yeah, I guess that's the way you would describe it. But yeah, they have like Andrew Shep's Bounce Factory is on there, I believe.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool like things. There's stuff for video as well. Just anything that can save you time with one button click. Like for instance, the split to mono. Take a stereo track, hit the button, just the one finger press. It splits it to mono, hides the stereo, deletes the right side, and pans the left side to the center. So all that with one button.
Love that.
So
I like
yeah.
that's a time saver.
So anything you can think of, doesn't matter how long the command is, it can do it. So yeah.
I went the other way. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. I couldn't use it for so long because I was on an old OS, and now I'm on a good OS where I could use it, but I haven't reinstalled it.
Yeah, I gotta check that out.
It's sick. I've been hearing about it for years, and like you said, some of the top guys like TZO and Baines.
Yeah.
It's one of the edges that helps you get ahead. We always used to talk about, one mouse click, 10 mouse clicks, 100 mouse clicks ends up being, I don't know, 1 minute, 1 hour, one whole entire day, a whole
Well,
24-hour period over.
especially
That's
for
it.
editing guys. Imagine you're doing some kind of intricate drum sample lay-in where it's like you got to tab to transient,
Yep.
shift down to the blank track, paste, go back up, tab to the next transient. You could, instead of having this 6-key thing you keep typing, you could just have it as a single button.
You just tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
This is save some
Yes,
time.
sir.
I like that.
That's awesome. What other new plugins you guys been saucing up with?
We've been using the
So,
Orion lately, the Cradle Audio.
Eric
Oh no, I already mentioned that. We're talking about Orion.
Eric Racy. You guys know him, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's got a new plugin that you need to look at. It's really good.
The
Got the
EQ.
HE.
EQ,
Yeah.
black box EQ. Let's go.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've also been using the Orion by Cradle Audio
How is
lately.
that?
Jason Joshua
What does
in
that
the
do?
building. Shout out Jay, man. Let's
How is that?
go.
It's pretty good. We've used on one
Nice though.
song. We used it on the drum bus, the way what it's made for,
Okay.
and then we started breaking it down into, okay, let's just use it on the snare, or let's just use it on like all the perks or all the fills. So yeah, it works
Nice.
So
pretty good. And a lot of
I would say
uh,
that God Particle has definitely has lots of functionality that you can control, but there's definitely some magic inside happening with God Particle. Um, in Orion, is there anything like that, or is it just kind of a straightforward, here's a knob and that's what it does kind of plug in?
Yeah,
Kind
yes
of.
and no.
Yeah. Yes and
Like
no.
there, he has. So you have the plugin, and then he also has parallel chains in the plugin. So he will have like a sub chain, a louder chain. Some of the things that he's been using for some time. So he just put that. Yeah, he's just put that in a plugin, and yeah, it works pretty good. The grit on it is great to add grit to your drums. Then also 40 hertz on it is pretty sweet. Uh, yeah,
Yeah. That's Jason's plugin.
yeah, and it gives you like color options, so you can choose A, B, or C, and depending on what you like, you can select that. Yeah, we've been playing around with A and B mostly lately.
You put it on your drum bus.
Yes, we put it on our drum bus once, and then we've also put it on like all the percussion tracks, or only the hi hat, only the snare. So it varies. Yeah, Dave tried it on the stereo bus too, and that was a little bit wonky, but
How did you guys use the black box EQ and what
oh,
um
like instant instantly when we put it on, one of the first things that at least I noticed was the top end. Like the top end on that, you crank like 6K, 7K on it, a little bit, and it's just so clean, so smooth, and it's not like, it doesn't like tear your head off kind of top end.
Is that part
Um,
of Plugin Alliance?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah, so I should have that.
they're
Yes,
and
sir. We should all
have
have
a
that.
boost and cut feature on it, so like a pull track, so you
Oh,
can
nice.
you can create
Yeah, no, once again,
create
shout out Eric Racy. Big shout out Jason Joshua. He has been working really hard. And for those of you that have been following, Jay's, kind of way of doing things and his template and all that stuff, um, a lot of that, as Sam was explaining, it's a lot of that kind of like all built into one. Very similar to Ken Lewis, our boy Ken, with all comp and the way Ken works, basically broken down or actually summed up into one plugin with just a couple knobs. So it's really incredible. Ken said all the time, and it's like, hey, I dare you to try yourself. I mean, he can mix a whole song with just using his plugin because it
Yeah, that.
has all the different chains that it needs. So again, shout Ken, shout out Mixing Night Audio,
Yeah,
and all the plugins they've been doing.
with all comp, I just wanted, like, I took about 10 or 12 different plugins that I used in different chains. I put five of my chains under the hood. So I would have one chain of like four plugin processes, and that was a chain, and the other was three, and one was two, and one was four. Um, and so when you're turning the dial, there's a ton of stuff going on under the hood that you don't see, but you hear. And then it's just try the different chains and see what sounds best. And
Is there anything different sonically from low comp to all comp?
same, it's just a reskin,
Okay.
same exact coding.
And we didn't have to for the reskin, which is something that I love.
Yeah. No, the updates on all comp and low comp should be free forever.
That's
Hopefully.
right.
It's looking
Love
mean.
it. Love it. And of course,
We're finishing up a delay right now. What are some of your guys' favorite delays? Because we're going to try and beat them all.
Oh man, there's
I
so
love
many
a
good
good
ones.
slap. The old Telray Avid.
Oh
Telray is
wow,
great. Pick that up from the boys over here. What else? Delays. Of course, Echo Boy is a classic. Can't get away from Echo Boy. It's on everything, and H delay is on literally everything.
man.
Between Echo Boy, H delay, and Mick DSP's, I think it's called the MC 300. I mean, that's
Oh, but
literally
yeah,
like
yeah.
the sound of
Like,
everything.
What are the rest of you guys' favorite
I
delays?
like
What do you got?
Valhalla delay just because it has that width knob, so you can pan it in and out really quick rather than having to grab the two separate pan knobs and mash them. You know, that's really good. The U the UVI relayer is really cool. It's got you can like put a wah wah on just one repeat on the right. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. So that's one if you want to really get nerdy with it.
Dave also has been using Rat Shack. Um,
What is that?
What is it?
it's
Rat
called Rat
Shack.
Shack. It is,
It's
and
it's the old Radio Shack. What is it? A guitar pedal or something?
yeah,
Or
yeah, you could get it on Radio Shack for like $29, and it's just this tiny little box which
It's
looks like a
so good.
pedal.
It's so good. Makes you want to
it's like
cry.
it's like a RCA in and out, and it has like a little like delay and like a reverb knob, or it's just like a one knob delay and a one knob. It's like a small little. It's like the cheapest little thing, but it's fire. And we talk about the thin girl, fat girl, thin girl theory all the time, and man, that Rat Shack
Yeah,
used to live on everything.
yep,
I know. I know. We brought it back out,
yeah,
and man, I think that sometimes perfection is not what I want. Perfection is just the enemy of
creativity.
creativity. So I like to every once in a while slide some ugly stuff in there. I mean, not her, but I mean, there's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's that's art, man. That's art.
Well, what's this? What is it? Like $20 or
Yeah,
something?
it's $29, and now, like before, it was only a VST, so you had to use DDMF to convert it so that you
Yeah.
can use it in Pro Tools. But now I think they have an AAX version of it as well.
Wow.
Oh, it's about time. We got to take a quick second to shout out our boy Vice Cooler. I believe Vice is the one that showed us the Rat Shack many moons ago.
Where
So
do you
shout
get
out
it?
our boy Vice Cooler.
No, I was the one
Um,
that got it first.
yeah,
Come on,
is that it?
Nico.
He's-
Are you sure he didn't show us that one?
Huh?
I'm pretty sure Vice showed us about the Rat Shack,
What?
but could be maybe on a record we did
where,
together.
where do you?
It's made by Audio Damage, and it's this kind of what it's like. Yeah, they made it look a little better.
Yeah.
Like the one that we have, it looks like somebody took a picture of a pedal on the floor and just used that as a GUI.
I want the
Yeah, the OG GUI is it makes you just feel cool, and it makes you feel like that vintage sound you're looking for, like that glue, that thick, that
Like
that.
like that's what it looked like.
I
I
want that.
love it.
That's what I want.
Picture
I'm gonna have to call the. Can you text that to me? I'm gonna have to send that to the company and be like, I want this version.
Absolutely.
Have you ever
On that,
That conga.
Dave has kind of modded it a little bit. So right after the Rat Shack, he goes into the space modulator, and then into the Devil Lock. So that's kind of his chain.
The Valhalla space modulator.
Yes.
Nice.
Valhalla's sick. I love Valhalla.
But you can get some crazy stuff when you're using
Red Track.
yeah.
Nice.
That's dope. What else we got going?
Did anybody catch any Grammy nominations? I got one.
Yeah, I got best reggae album.
Let's.
Was that the
Oh,
Collie
Hey,
Buds I saw you post?
Yeah.
let's go.
Collie, nice.
Love that. Bob's been killing the Collie Buds
that's
albums in the past couple years.
yeah.
Absolutely shredding it. So big
Nice.
shout.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's huge, man. That's legendary.
I
Great. Congrats.
I have a little. They have all these rules for engineers with getting Grammys, and you have to mix 51% of an album in the best category, best genre category. So like best R&B, best reggae, best pop, and that's really hard to do nowadays because there's 10 producers on every album. So it's like, how often do we mix entire albums or even 51% of albums? You know?
So can you like kind of fiddle with like if every one of the competitors has 10 producers, technically nobody has 51% of the
The
album.
mastering engineers
And
do.
then
True.
They're the ones.
okay.
They're the
So I
ones.
guess
Yeah.
the artist gets the trophy. Obviously the mastering engineer gets the trophy, but
Right.
that's it. Everybody else is
Yeah,
kind
but
of
a lot of
sort
the
of
times, unless you were lucky enough to do, over half the album, so that's just harder to do in 2024 than it used to be.
Now if you had mixed over half of the album, you wouldn't be listed on the nomination. You would just get a statue if it wins.
Right, right. But if
Okay.
you do under 51, then you get a
Right.
certificate instead of the
Right. So
trophy.
you're a participant unless it
Yeah.
wins, and if
I
you're
think they just don't
51%
like
or
making
more,
trophies. They're just
they
cheap.
don't. I mean, when the Grammys changed the rules the year that Bruno Mars won and denied me my first statue, thank you very much. I called them up as soon as I saw the rule change. It went from all producers and engineers uh, participated were actual by name nominees for album of the year that worked on the albums. Then they changed it to you had to have worked on 33% of the entire project to be included in the album of the year. And I did an
Yeah,
analysis after the first nominations came out that year. 29 people were left off that would have been included, including people like Babyface and Max Martin
yeah,
and like not slouches, people who really had huge contributions to some of these
sure.
nominations and completely left off. I'm like, I told you that was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah, I think they need to update the rules for 2024 because we just make
Well,
records different now.
they changed it from 33 to 25% and added songwriters, but still 25% of an album of the year is denying dozens of people
Yeah,
official nominations. And for my 2 cents, what the fuck, Grammys? You guys are supposed to be our mouthpiece, and you're supposed to be supporting us. We certainly
Right.
support you guys a lot.
right.
So you put that album of the year back to all producers and engineers.
yeah, much appreciated,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm with you.
And now they're charging your +1 for the show. You have to buy your ticket.
Hmm.
So this year I was up for album of the year this year. Thank you, Taylor. And I had to buy my wife her show ticket and the after party ticket. That was $1,250.
Wow.
Wow, and they'll make
Yeah.
it easy on you.
Now, yeah, talk about getting penalized for getting an award.
It's like you're really paying for both tickets. Is really what's going on.
Yeah.
You
used to get them. You used to get a +1 free if you were a NARIS member and you got an official nomination. You don't get that anymore.
Makes a lot of sense. Well,
yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with the Grammys.
Yo.
like Bob said, it's different how we make music nowadays. So kind of gotta figure out new ways to find that representation and just bring these things up. So
well, the thing is,
to join.
We're not going to change what we do and how we work because that's not the way it works. We're not going to modify what we do for the Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
The Grammys needs to get back to representing us again.
Yeah.
And because we change the way we work based on the industry and the market and the way we have to, like, we're kind of forced to change in our ways and grow and all that. So we
Yeah.
are just chasing the white whale. They've got to come help us
Yeah,
out, like
like
you said,
here's
Ken.
perfect example that Grammy said behind me for Taylor Swift Midnights. Had one of the songs I worked on been 30 seconds shorter, that statue would not be sitting
Crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
there. Hmm.
Didn't they change the policy on plaques too? Like, so now if you have, even if you have credit on a record, that's not enough to get you the plaque. The label has to the label has to sign off.
To be
Sign off.
approved,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine.
right?
Hmm.
But that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes
but not
sense.
really. Yeah,
Label or
really.
manager or somebody.
Does, but it doesn't because a lot of times these guys are too busy, and I'll use air quotes to sign off on people that
True.
legitimately deserve this stuff, or politically
Or they just
don't
don't care.
want so and so, or exactly just don't care. And they're like, I'm not gonna answer that email, and now so and so that's trying to build his career doesn't get his plaque.
That's happened to me.
Um, I'm sure it's happened to all
Sucks.
of us.
But we
So what?
Great.
What is everyone using for converters? Just to
And
change the
Fareed.
subject.
Just the Matrix Studio. Actually, I'm using my Apollo a lot. I think I'm been recording mostly through the Apollo.
which one, Ken?
Uh, I probably for convenience. My twin
Apollo? Is it an X? Is it a
Which Gen twin?
is an X, twin X.
Twin X.
that's
Okay. Is it the Heritage Edition or something?
No,
No. Okay.
it's
Just checking. Just
whoever's
checking.
in
Because
there.
there's, if you want to go down
the
a
last?
rabbit hole, talk to the live sound guys about which Apollo they use, and well, good luck. I'll see you at 4 or 5 in the morning, still in the same conversation. But anyways, no,
What are you guys
there's a
using for
thing.
converters? I'm a super basic bitch.
I'm on Apogee Symphony right now, but I'm looking to change. So
That thing is probably
We're
Yeah, I'm on.
we're using the
I'm on
HDIO
the
app.
okay.
same.
Oh, that's what you're using,
Same, yeah.
Nico.
Yep, I'm between the Mo2s and the HDIOs, and but what I really want to do is well, you guys got me going on this episode. Is I definitely have been looking moving up to the Matrix just for flexibility and stuff,
You're,
and
are you doing Atmos?
every here and there, mainly in the
You should
box, if you
you
will.
should check out the Audient Aurea.
Yeah, that thing's
Audient
nice.
just came out with a
Yes,
dedicated Atmos interface. It does stereo too, of course,
Yeah,
but a dedicated Atmos interface. I just got one for Studio B,
that thing's
and
great. I saw that.
great price point, great features.
it's
Um,
called the Audience.
Audient, Audient Aurea, Audient Aurea.
nice.
Audio.
Check
Yes.
out.
I love it, dude. You're the man. I love it. That's going back to. So let's talk about some top converters in the game right now. Everybody's talking about the Lynx
Yeah.
Aurora. Of course, for the mobile, they got the high low. I know Bob. You know both of them. You got the Apogee. A lot of folks are kind of moving away from the Apogee, but they're like either the Lynx or the Avid Matrix. So that's really what I've been hearing a lot. A lot of. Does anybody? And of course, you can't forget the old tried and true um, HDIOs, but with the Black Lion mod. Can't forget about that. Those are still some really sweet sounding.
The new
Kind of hard to.
the new Neumann I've heard sounds incredible, but the apps are a little bit buggy. So if they smooth out the apps, that's a supposedly a really great interface for laptop people or people that don't need a lot of ins and outs.
One thing I've been using for a really long time actually is my Arturia interface,
Hmm.
the Audio Fuse Studio. I'm actually using it right now. Let's see if I can pull it up here without yanking. Um, Here it is. I'm actually
Nice.
using it right now, literally. I use it for
Nice.
all the podcasts. This is like my to-go
Fire.
jam. I love it. And see if I can do this without yanking. My cloud
Let's
very
go.
easy.
Nice.
We were talking about it earlier. Let's go. We're solid with this. I can roll around anywhere to any studio, hook up to anyone's stuff. So I really love and it sounds super clean. They have the AKM chip in here, the 192 AKM. So it's like the same as the HDIOs, same
Nice.
as Motu's top end stuff, same as, a lot of the top end converter chips. So it's like a different option to the Apollo converter chip. So that's why I really like this one, that clean.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And of course, can't go wrong with one of these. You got to have this in your Swiss Army pack. So definitely shout out to Cloud. Speaking of which, um, the Cloud 44A. I've been working with that on a lot of different vocalists. I just did a 50s kind of vibe. I did like a shootout with the tried and true Frank Sinatra 47 and a 44A, and it was like different flavors. The 47 is a lot more direct, and the 44A is like a lot more thick and roomy. And what I really loved was kind of like paralleling it in. I started as a shootout, and I was like, "What am I doing? These are flavors." I just did it just to do it. I wanted to pick it later, but I was like, you know what? Let me parallel this in here, and it sounded pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's a
So
good mic.
it's
Just I was at Flux last month in New York, producing Small Choir, and I had a pair of 44A Cloud ribbons, and I cleaned out the Flux mic closet of all of their expensive vintage tube shit. I must have had fucking $100,000 worth of mics in that studio, and the best pair of mics in the whole place was the two Clouds sitting in kind of XX, right in the
Bloomline.
middle of the yeah, yeah. Sounded great. It was just like the most real, even. It got the front picture and it caught the ambience from the back, so it's got this like presence, but also ambience to it, which sounded great. And
Yeah, it has this sense of like ambience and it picks up the room in a way that a lot of times you don't want that in a mic. In a lot of rooms, in a lot of performances, if you will, call the really hotel rooms, but and on the road or this or that, you don't really want to hear the whole room. But in a lot of situations, when like you were saying, you're doing a choir or you're doing something, you're in a beautiful studio, and just the sound of the singer in the space is just an element of the vibe. That's where this mic really shines, where it's like it fills in the picture or actually captures the picture without omitting or having to add in later, like, oh, let me put the plugins to like fill in these blanks to make it feel more realistic, or use some of my favorite techniques to use this front to rear depth plug-in stuff. You just obviously best idea to capture it at the source or whatever, but like you said, kind of adding in some of that texture from a very
yeah,
realistic, like it doesn't lie, like this
I,
mic doesn't lie, it kind of
I
tells
kind
you
of look
how it
at
is in the
like
room.
ribbon mics in general, as in so like a high quality condenser is kind of like a 4K uh, HD, but a ribbon is more like film, where it captures the same thing, but it gives it a little bit of vibe and essence that the 4K HD
Right.
mic doesn't get, if that makes sense.
Going with that same analogy, film is a lot less easy to edit, right? So it doesn't lie, it's like all there, right? So
I
with that
find
same
ribbons are super easy to EQ.
Oh
Ribbons
but I'm
yeah.
are
talking
so
about the
great.
fact that it captures everything, as
Oh
opposed to a condenser kind of comes in with its EQ,
yeah,
right? So a ribbon is kind of like a naked a picture of what's going on, if you
What's the
will.
name of that?
well, I need to
Have you
get
guys
that.
ever used? Have you guys ever used those two pencil mics? It's uh, uh they're like fat at the end and they get really narrow at the tip with the silver point. I can't
The
remember.
4007s, B&Ks.
Yes.
Fareed, I don't need to know what you do after hours.
You're talking about the one the sphere that's on the end of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you
Yeah,
guys used
those are
that
B
for?
and Ks.
I've used I haven't used B&Ks forever, but I used to use them on like pianos and rooms and overheads, and I used them on. I recorded the Sandra Bernhard album in like the fucking '90s, mid '90s, and I used B&K on her lead vocals.
they're
I
they're
was
so
always so
flat.
amazed.
They're basically test mics. You know,
Yeah, I was
like
just surprised
their
how much they.
frequency response is the flattest there is. You know,
And clear as a bell.
yeah,
So,
and their transient response is very very fast. So they're just great at detail. Kind of like a ribbon, but just in their own way. But they're
Yeah,
omni, and I believe that sphere that you put on the end that comes off, but I think that turns it into a
right.
cardioid. I think.
I
that's
think
how
I
you do it.
haven't seen the
Yeah.
sphere that you. I usually see it without it.
Right.
Just the
Yeah.
yeah, just
Yeah. A lot of classical piano players like those mics on their piano. Um,
yeah.
we had them. We had a bunch of them at Berkeley. That's where I grew up with them. You know.
I think that's where I learned about them too,
Yeah.
and then I
They
moved
did
out to
have
New
one
York.
cardioid model called a 4011, which was really great.
Yes, I remember that.
Acoustic guitar,
Seems
Wow,
fitting.
overheads.
going back to Berkeley.
Yeah.
Seems like some old school vibes for sure. Like not the kind of old school that tends to like modernize well. You know how some old school things get brought back? It's like one of those things that, it's like those guys that are still in that are still doing that, but it's something that has kind of been like blended in with the modern culture.
I mean, back in the day, I would have never ever thought that an SSL E series or G series console would be considered like vintage classic gear. Like back then, when we were using those, it was like, I wish I was on a 9K or a Neve, but this will do. Actually, for hip hop, the E series was always my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
And
Oh
believe
yeah.
it or not, going from vintage to modern, let's take a quick shout out to our boy Steven Slate. Happy birthday, Steven
Happy
Slate. He
birthday,
just
Steven
had
Slate.
Oh
his,
yeah.
yes, sir. He's had a birthday recently. And what seems to be whatever you want to call it, the up and coming guy, the prosumer bedroom. A lot of the traveling, kits are the Steven Slate mic, the virtual, that's like what is you get every classic mic in that. So it's like
Yeah,
That like a
that's what
modeling mic, like his
yeah,
headphones and shit.
yeah.
exactly. Speaking of which, the VSX headphones, everybody needs to get a pair of those VSX headphones. It's like what now he's doing Atmos in the VSX headphones. Am I wrong?
No, I think yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what he's working
No,
on.
I'm not wrong. He's doing so. I think it's just now rolling out, but yeah, be sure to check out VSX headphones. And now they're doing Atmos in the headphones, so it's next level. It's actually helped a lot of folks. I've heard it firsthand. I've experienced it firsthand. I'm pretty sure all of us have tried the headphones, and we're like, that's the closest anyone's ever gotten to actually making me feel like I'm in a studio or in any sort of treated space with those kind of headphone modeling
Hmm.
techniques or softwares or whatever you want to call them. So shout out to Steven Slate. Hats off. Happy birthday, bud. All the above. Keep grinding, bud. And yeah, what else is going on, guys? Who else are we missing? Shout out to our boys at our lovely friends, boys and gals, and everything else at Arturia, our friends at Cloud Mics have been a sponsor for a little while, and they definitely show us love. They've hooked us all up with equipment, and like Ken just said at the last minute, hey man, I need some microphones at this session, last minute situation. We'll make it happen. So thank you
Yeah.
guys, Cloud Mics, definitely always supporting us, showing love, and of course they've got great gear, so
Shout
that
out,
helped a lot too.
gotta fuck with Sound Toys. I love
One
Sound.
more time. Shout out Sound Boys, all of our family over there, Maggie and the rest of the crew. You know who you are. We appreciate you guys. Of course, big shout out to Dave and his assistant over there, who is behind the camera, Sam.
Sam.
He's been
Thank you.
instrumental. You guys have been hearing a little bit from him. You'll be hearing a lot more. Shout out to Ken and That Most Studio. He's got an amazing. I don't know if you guys are checking out Ken's freaking 3D like projection mapping Atmos room he's got over there.
Condominium.
But the Grammy is not 3D. That's real.
Real life, baby.
So and big shout out to Ken's assistants over there, John,
Jonathan and Nolan.
Nolan, my boy Nolan. Yes, sir. I forgot your name, but I did not forget your face and all the hard work you guys put in. So thank you guys so much.
I got you.
Bob has also amazing. Big shout out Bob Horn. Of course, he's got some cool assistants behind the scenes, but Bob actually does a lot of work himself. So don't be fooled.
Peace.
And Fareed as well. Big shout out to Fareed Salamah in the building. He's another one of those cats. Came from the gutter, been doing everything off the letter on his back from day one. So if you look up his credit and you look at his Rolodex and his roll call, it's thick, it's deep. So definitely appreciate you being here. Every one of you guys is a legend in the game, and we appreciate you guys for taking time to sit down and sit some game and share some knowledge with us.
Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. And see you next time on Faders of the Lost Art.